Hi, and thanks for joining us for our class today. So today we're going to go through a full body workout class. So we're going to start in standing and warm up through our upper bodies, our legs, and a little bit of balance as well. And then we're going to come down onto our mats, onto our backs, and work our core abdominals a little bit further. And then we're going to come around onto our sides and our fronts, and then finish in sitting today. So I hope you enjoy the class. Remember, I'll try and give you some different levels and options of exercises where we can. So always go to a level that suits you. And most importantly, we want you to enjoy the class. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we get started. So we're going to bring our toes apart and those heels apart. So those feet are that hip width distance. And just to start with, we're going to transfer that weight onto the fronts of your toes and then back onto your heels. So just gently forwards and back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements, so that weight's going nice and evenly down through your feet. Good. Knees are nice and soft, hands up onto your pelvis. Very gently, we're just going to tilt that pelvis forward and tilting it back. So just gently forwards and back, just looking to find again that midpoint between those two movements, so that pelvis in a nice neutral position. Lovely. That core's gently engaged, ribs are soft, collarbones nice and wide, and that neck is nice and long and lifted. Great. Okay, so we're going to start by just warming up through our sides. So we're just going to reach one hand up and over and then drop this hand down the side of your leg. Breath in as you breathe out, lifting back up and over. And we're going to alternate sides. So drop that hand down, reach the other hand up and over, breath in here. And as you breathe out, back up and over. Good. And again, reaching opposite arm over, slide the other hand down your leg. Breath in as you breathe out, reaching up and over. Good. And again, dropping down, reaching over, breath in here. And as you breathe out, back up and over. Good. And again, dropping down, reaching over, breath in here. As you breathe out, back up and over. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over, breath in here. And then back to that center. Good. Now on this next one, we're going to reach over with this hand. And then we just sort of bend in the middle. We're going to roll around in that circle and then reach up again. Good, and we'll do that again. So bending over in that middle and circling that arm round. Good, and one more time. Reaching over and come around in that circle and lifting up. Good. Relax that arm down. We'll do the same on the other side. So opposite arm lifted, reach down, and then we're going to bend in the middle, coming around in that circle and lifting back up. Good, and again, reaching over and come around in that circle, bending through that center and back up. Lovely. One last time. Reaching over, bend in that center, then coming around and then back up. Lovely. And then relax that arm down. Great. Okay, so we're just going to bring one leg in front here. We're going to do some flexion of our hips. So keep that pelvis nice and level, that core gently engaged. The leg you're standing on is going to work hard to support you, so make sure that knee stays soft. So we're going to start by raising our hands up to shoulder height and at the same time lift and flex at the hip. So we're going to lift up and lower. Good. Lifting and lowering. And lowering. Good. So breathe out as you lift up. Breathe in as you lower. Breathe out as you lift up. Breathe in as you lower. Lovely. So just keeping that control, nice and slow. That leg is working hard, that's supporting you on that side. Good. Now we're going to add in some hip twist movement here. So on this next one, we're going to lift up. We're going to hold this here. Open out our arm and our leg. Come back to the center and lower down. Good. And again, so lift up. Opening out. Centering back and lower down. Good. And again, lifting up. Breathing out. Breathe in, folding back and lowering. Good. Good. Folding back. Now just go to where you're comfortable opening out that leg. If that feels too much though, just go back just to flexing through that hip, okay? Good. Opening out and folding back. So keeping those hip bones pointing forwards like those headlights. So keeping that control through that pelvis. We're adding this movement in. Good. Folding back. Lovely. And one more. Opening out and folding back. And relax back down. Very good. Okay, so let's do the same on the other side. So opposite leg just in front. Keeping that pelvis level, that core engaged. And we're going to start by lifting the arm and that leg. And lifting arm and leg, flexing through that hip. No higher than that hip height, remember. So we're just lifting and lowering. Good. Lift up and lower. Breathe out as you lift up. Breathe in as you lower. Very good. So keeping that control, keeping that pelvis level as we're lifting and lowering. Very good. Now, as we did before, we're going to add in this hip twist movement. So we're going to lift up, open wide, fold back, and lower. Good. So lift up, opening out, folding back, and lowering. Good. So breathing out. So we're opening out, breathe in, folding, and lowering back down. Good. Now, keeping those hip bones pointing forwards, not letting those hips roll or rotate, keeping that control as you're opening out through that hip. Lovely. And folding back. That leg you're standing on is working hard to support you as well. Keep that knee nice and soft. Well done. Opening out, folding back, and lowering. Good. And let's do one last one here. Opening out, folding back, and lowering down. Very good, and relax those legs back down. Okay, so just give our legs a little break for a second. We're just going to keep those feet at that hip width distance apart, knees still soft. And we're going to float our hands up to shoulder height. And we're going to do our bow and arrow stretch just to open out through our chest. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to stretch one arm round and back. Breath in here, and as you breathe out, back to that center. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching the arm round and back, looking back with that head, and then folding forwards. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching around, and then folding back. We're just opening out through that chest, and back. Good. And again, opening out, and folding back. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching around and back, and folding back. Good. A few more here. And fold back. Good. Let's just do one more each side. Reaching around and back. And folding back. Good. Last time. And folding back here. Lovely. And relax those arms back down. Very good. Okay. So we're going to move on to our legs again and do a one leg circle in standing. So a little bit of balance, a little bit of control. And again, that movement's all coming through from that hip region. So keep that core engaged. Either just to start, we're going to circle with that toe just resting on the ground, just coming around in that circle, keeping that pelvis nice and level. If that feels comfortable, then we can flex at the foot, so we're lifting, we're not touching the floor. So you can either just keep that toe in contact with the floor for a little bit of support if you need to. This leg's working hard, knees soft, and keeping in that center and circling round from here. Good. So just breathing in and out, nice and controlled. Not holding your breath, remember. Good. And let's change direction of that circle. So coming around in that circle, that movement, remember, is coming from that hip. And just as big a circle as you feel you can control. If it feels a bit wobbly, make that circle a little bit smaller. Okay, good. Well done. And one last time. And then back to that center. Very good. Okay, so do the same on the other side. So opposite leg, either just toe in contact with the floor, and then coming around in that circle, keeping that pelvis level, keeping that neck long and lifted. Good. If that's comfortable, flex the foot and we'll lift it off the ground here. Good. So remember that movement's just coming from that hip. My pelvis staying nice and level. Good. Circling around. Still breathing. Good. And let's change direction, opposite way round. Good. Last few here. Controlling that movement, well done. And last one. And then back to that center, well done. Relax those legs back down, very good. Okay, so still keeping those feet that hip width distance apart, knees nice and soft. We're going to do a few roll downs from here. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Take a breath in here. Then as you breathe out, gently rolling, restacking that spine, back up into standing. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath in at the end there. Then as you breathe out, slowly peeling back up into standing. Good. Okay, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, curling down through that spine, rolling down, gently down through the mat. Soften the knees if you need to. Breath in here. As you breathe out, gently restacking through that spine, curling back up into standing. Lovely. Let's do that one more time. Breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath in at the end there. And as you breathe out, slowly peeling back up into standing, and relax those arms back down. Fantastic. Well done. Okay, so we're going to continue our class and come down onto our mats and onto our backs. Okay, so we've come down onto our backs to continue the class here. So we're going to just start by finding that starting position. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Just to start, we're going to tilt that pelvis forwards and back, just dropping that forwards, tucking it back, and just finding that midpoint between those two movements, so that pelvis in that nice neutral position. That core is gently engaged, those ribs are soft, collarbones nice and wide, and that neck nice and long and lifted from there. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to start just warming up through our hips with a hip twist movement, but we're going to add in our arms with this today as well. So we're going to float our hands up towards the ceiling. And to start with, I'm just going to let one leg drop out to the side, and at the same time bring the opposite arm out to the side. And then we're going to fold them back together. So breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, opening out, opposite arm, opposite leg, and then folding back together. So really focusing on that centre, not letting that hips roll or your body rotating, because you're keeping that control through that centre. Lovely. So breathing out as you're opening out, breathe in as you fold back. Good. And again, breathing out as you open out, breathe in as you fold back. Good. And again, opening out and folding back. Good. And again, opening out and then folding back. Lovely. Now if that feels comfortable here, then we can just challenge it a little bit further. Bring one leg up into single tabletop, opening out and then folding back. Alternating sides, opposite leg lifted, opening out and folding back. Good. If that feels okay, we can challenge it a little bit further with both legs up into double tabletop. And again, opening out and folding back. Good. Now making sure all the time that those hip bones are pointing up towards the ceiling, not letting those hip bones roll or rotate. If you're finding you're getting too much movement there, whatever level you're working on, you might need to just make that movement a little bit smaller, so don't let those knee go quite so far out. As you move up through the levels anyway, your leg won't go quite so far, but that's okay, that's normal. Opening out and folding back. So imagine you've got headlights on those hip bones. Those headlights are pointing up towards the ceiling all the time. Good. So as always, if you start to feel that feels too much, you can just go back down into your levels. So just pick what's comfortable for you, and you're good. So breathing out as we're opening out, breathe in as we're folding back. And folding back. Lovely. And fold back. Excellent. We'll just do a few more here, keeping that control through that centre. Well done. And folding back. Well done. Last few here. Good. And fold back. And one more each side. And then back to that centre. Well done. We're going to lower those legs down if they're lifted, and then float those hands back down to the start. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go into our bridge from here. So feet and knees still that hip width distance apart. Make sure your feet aren't too far away from you, just tucked up towards your bottom, just so we don't get cramp in our hamstrings when we're doing this exercise. So arms relaxed down by your side, neck long. We'll take a breath in here. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into this bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, walk that spine slowly back down onto the mat. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly walking that spine back down onto the mat. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly walking that spine back down onto the mat. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, walking that spine slowly back down onto the mat. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, again, walking that spine slowly down onto the mat. Lovely. Now make sure you're using those bottom muscles to help lift you up into this bridge. Breath in here. Then as you breathe out, walking that spine slowly back down onto the mat. Keeping those bottom muscles engaged, lifting up into that bridge, and as you lower back down. Good. Well done. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in to hold here. And as you breathe out, walking the spine slowly back down. Lovely. Okay, do a few more here, tucking under, peeling that spine up. Breath in here. As you breathe out, walking that spine slowly back down. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, slowly walking that spine back down. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. Then as you breathe out, walking that spine back down. Lovely. Let's do one more here. Breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into this bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, slowly walking back down. Good. Okay, so we're going to do one more bridge, but we're going to add in a little bit of rotation through that lower back and our pelvis. So we're going to breath in. As you breathe out, lifting up into that bridge. Now I want you to keep up in this position. Keep that nice and lifted in that bottom. And we're just going to drop one side down and then lift up. So drop the opposite side and lift up. So you're just dipping that hip bone down and lift up. So it's just a little rotation through that lower back and pelvis. Those knees are staying relatively still and lift up. Good. So the movement is coming from this hip pelvis region. So drop down and lift up. Good. Keeping that bottom lifted and up. Drop down and lift up. So really working through those bottom muscles and lift up. So drop down and lift up. Good. Opposite side. If it's starting to feel too much, then you can just lower down, have a rest, and then come back and join us. But if you can, keep here. We're dropping down and lifting up. Really working through that bottom. Good. And lift up. Dropping down that pelvis, lift up. So that little rotation, a little bit of rotation, mobility through that lower back as well. Drop down and lift up. Good. Drop down, lift up. Really feeling that in those bottoms now. Good. Well done. Let's just do the last few. Drop down, lift up. Drop down, lift up. Good. And let's do one more each side. Drop down, lift up, and drop down, lift up. Breath in, hold here. And as you breathe out, walk that spine slowly back down onto the mat. Excellent. Well done. Let's bring those knees in, have a hug, and stretch out through that lower back. Well done. So breathe in and out here. On that out breath, if you can, just sink down into that stretch. Just that little bit further. Well done. Breath in and out. Just sinking down that little bit further. Well done. And again, breath in and out. Just sinking down that little bit further. Well done. One more breath in here and out. Good. And then just lowering those legs back down one at a time, back to that start position. Very good. Okay, so still making sure we're in that neutral position. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Just tilt that pelvis forwards and back again if you need to, just so we're making sure we're starting in that neutral. Core engaged, ribs soft, collarbones wide. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to work our abdominals and our obliques a little bit here with a crisscross movement. So I'm going to put my hands behind my head just to support my neck a little bit. So I'm going to go through a couple of different levels for you. So just pick what's comfortable for you. All right, so we're going to start by lifting up the head, looking to that left knee, and then lowering back down. And then we're going to lift up and look to the right knee and lower. Lifting, looking to the left, and lowering back down. So we're just a little twist movement as we're looking to that opposite side, just kicking in those obliques there a little bit as well. So drop. Good. So looking to that knee and lowering. If that's comfortable, we can lift both legs up into double tabletop. Same again, looking to that knee, alternating sides, lifting and lowering. Just kicking in those abdominals. Well done. If that's comfortable here, we can add a leg extension and lower. So looking to that knee and extending that opposite leg. So breathing out as I lift up, breathe in as I fold back. Breathe out as I lift up, breathe in as I fold back. Good. So just pick what level is comfortable for you. So either those legs down, just lifted into tabletop and holding that position, or we can add this leg extension in. Good. So breathing out, folding back. Breathing out and folding back. So just picking what's comfortable for you, lengthening that leg, folding back. Good. Lengthening and lowering. Do the last few here. Well done. Still breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath, very good. Just working those upper abdominals and getting those obliques working a little bit as well here. Well done. And lowering. Lifting and lowering, good. And one more each side. And back to that centre, lowering that head down, well done, and lowering those legs down one at a time. Back to that start, very good. Okay, so we're going to work our lower abdominals a little bit more now and our core with our scissors movement. So again, I'm going to go through a couple of options, so just make sure you go to what's comfortable for you. So just to start with, my pelvis is still in that neutral position, core is gently engaged, and I'm going to float one leg up into tabletop. Now keeping this knee at that 90-degree angle, because the movement for this exercise is really coming through from that hip. And I'm going to tap my foot down and lift up. Lowering the leg, opposite leg lifted. Tap the foot down, lift up and lower. Good, so my knee is staying in the same position. And I'm really lowering the leg through my lower, using my abdominal muscles and through those hips. Good. And lowering. Good. Now keeping that tummy flat, that core is engaged. If that's comfortable, we can bring both legs up into that double tabletop position. And we're keeping this tummy flat still, and we're going to tap the foot down and alternate sides. Good. But again, keeping that knee at that 90-degree angle, not letting that knee bend, as we're lowering that leg back down. Well done. Now, when you're here, if you start to feel that back arching or your tummy's really doming, then just come back down a level, reset, and then come back again. Okay, so you're just losing that control a little bit if you start to feel that back arching. And it is hard to hold that here, so don't worry if you need to come down and reset. It's better to do that and work the right muscles than stay there hanging on, working the wrong ones. Good, so tapping down, lifting up. Good, now if that's feeling comfortable here, we can make it a little bit harder and go a little bit faster. So we tap, tap. So we're breathing in for 2 and out for 2. Breathing in for 2 and out for 2. So just pick what level is comfortable for you. Good. So you can either that little bit faster movement, or we've got our legs lifted, lowering, lifting. So breathe out as you lower, breathe in as you lift up, or just go back to that single leg, tapping and lowering. So pick what's comfortable, okay? We're going to work a little bit more here. If we're going that a little bit faster, we're tapping, 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 keeping that back nice in that neutral position, that core's engaged, tummy's flat. If you start to feel yourself really arching or doming, come down, remember. Good. Breathing still, not holding your breath. Tapping, tapping. Very good, well done. We'll just do a few more here. Good, tapping, tapping, well done. Keep going if you can. Well done. Tapping, tapping. Lovely, let's just do the last few. Keeping that control, well done. And one more each side. And back to that start. Lower those legs back down. Oh, well done, and bring those knees in. Let's have a quick hug. So just stretch out through that lower back, well done. So breathing in and out here. On that out breath, if you can, just relax down into that stretch, just that little bit further if you can. Breathing in and out, and just relaxing down there. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, relaxing down into that stretch here. Good. And again, breath in and out, and relaxing down. Well done. And again, breath in and out. Good. And then lowering those legs back down. Excellent. Okay, so we're just going to lengthen through our bodies now where we've worked through our hips, and we're going to do our opposite arm, opposite leg movement. So we're going to lengthen one leg away, at the same time bring the arm above your head, and then we're going to fold them back together. So breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, lengthen opposite arm, opposite leg. Breathe in as you fold back. Good. Breathing out, lengthening away. Breathe in as you fold back. Good. And again, breathe out and fold back. Now what we're really thinking about here is keeping that connection between the ribs and those hip bones. So as I lengthen my arm and my leg, I'm not letting my back arch or my ribs flare. So what I mean by that is I'm not letting my back lift up. I'm keeping that connection down, keeping that core strong. Good. Lengthening opposite arm, opposite leg, and folding back. Good. keeping that core engaged, lengthening and through. For those of you that want a bit more of a challenge with this exercise, you can bring both legs up into tabletop and then lengthen from here if you want to. Sometimes it's just quite nice to enjoy that lengthening movement though, but it's up to you. So just pick what's comfortable. Good. Reaching away. Lovely. So just pick what's comfortable for you. Lengthening through. Good. So making sure you're keeping that distance between the ribs and the hip bones the same. So again, that's not lifting, flaring up those ribs. Well done. So it might be that you can't bring your arm back quite so far. So actually you're not necessarily aiming to touch the floor behind you, because if you can only get to there before your ribs are going to flare, that's as far as you need to go. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you're doing it. Well done. Breathing out as we're lengthening away. Breathing in as we're folding back. Very good. I'm just going to do a few more here. Lengthening through those hips. Can feel a really nice exercise to do as well, just to stretch through those hip flexors if you get quite tight through there as well. Lovely. Well done. And then fold back. Okay, so let's just do one more each side. And bring those legs back down and float the arms back down from here. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to stretch out a little bit more with a rotation stretch. So either arms down by your side or out to the side of you. We're going to drop those knees over to one side. Turn your head to the opposite side if you can. Then using those thigh muscles, we're going to come back up and over to the opposite side. So dropping those knees over, turning that head, using those toe muscles to come back up and over. Dropping those knees over and then coming back up and over from here. Lovely. And again, drop those knees over and use those toe muscles coming back up. Good. So just opening out through that spine, just enjoying that stretch. It's a really nice stretch just to rotate through that back. Lovely. And then back up. Turning that head just to increase that stretch slightly. Well done. Dropping over and then coming back up. And then back up. Lovely. And again, dropping over, turning your head back up to that centre and over to the other side. Good. Just do a few more here. Dropping those knees over, turning that head and then back up. Good. And again, dropping over and back up. Lovely. Alright, let's just do one more each side here. Coming back up and over to that opposite side. Well done. And then bring those knees back to that centre and those arms back down by your side. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to come round now onto our sides, just to work through our sides and our glutes a little bit. So if you've got a little block or a pillow you can use at home just to support your head here, that can be quite nice. Keep that neck in that nice lengthened position. Okay, so have our knees bent up, so my hips are really stacked on top of each other, my core's gently engaged, and we're going to start here with a side kick movement. So we're going to lift one leg up to that hip height, and I'm just going to glide the leg forwards and gliding it back. So imagine that leg is on a table, we're gliding it forwards and gliding it back. So either keeping that knee bent here, again I'm going to go through a few little options to see what's comfortable for you. So keeping the knee bent, making sure that leg is staying at that hip height the whole time. If that's comfortable, we can straighten the leg and glide the leg forwards and glide it back. Now if the leg's straight, we can point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. All the while keeping that leg at that hip height level as you glide forwards and you glide back. Good. And again, gliding forwards, gliding back. Making sure that leg's staying at that hip height level. It's not a huge movement forwards and back. Again, you want to keep that control through that pelvis. If you're finding that your back is arching forwards and back, you're probably going a little bit too far with that leg. So keep that control, that core engaged. If you want to challenge it a little bit further, then we can straighten that lower leg. Again, reducing that base of support a little bit more and gliding forward. Again, as you reduce the base of support, you might find that that movement from your leg just reduces slightly, and again, that's normal. And you can have your hand in front for a little bit of balance, but just don't brace through that arm. Good. Gliding forwards, gliding back. So just pick what's comfortable for you, making sure all the while we're keeping that leg at that hip height level. So we're really working those glutes here to keep that leg in that position. Good. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Excellent. Good. Keep going here if you can. Just a few more. Glide forwards, glide back. Again, if that leg's straight, then we can just add that little bit of ankle movement in. So point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Good. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Excellent. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Glide forwards, glide back. Last few here. Glide forwards and glide back. Good. And gliding forwards, gliding back. Gliding forwards, gliding back. Lovely. And let's do one more here. Glide forwards, glide back. Back to that center and lower that leg down. Well done. Bend those knees in, give that muscle a little rub. So we're going to drop that knee in front, stretch out that lower leg. So we're just going to rest this top leg, have a little stretch. While we're doing that, we can just work that inner thigh a little bit. So flex the foot. And we're just going to lift and lower through that lower leg. Lifting and lowering, just kicking in that inner thigh a little bit here. Well done. So we're lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Well done. Good. Lifting and lowering from here. Well done. Very good. Lift up and lower. Lifting and lowering. Very good. Last few. And let's do one last one. And lower back down. Very good. Okay, so bend those knees back up, and then we're going to straighten those legs back out together. So really keeping those hips still stacked on top of each other, that core gently engaged, and we're going to lift up this top leg and lower. So we're going to do a leg lift sideways. So we're going to lift up and lower. If you can, let's point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Still keeping those hips stacked, lifting and lowering. If you're finding it hard to keep that stability, you can always bend that lower leg, just to give you that little bit more base of support. So just pick what's comfortable. Good. Point the toes, lift up and lower. Good. And again, lift up and lower. Point the toes, lift up, flex the foot to lower. Very good. And lower. And again, point to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Good. Now on this next one, we're going to lift up. We're going to hold this here. We'll do a little circle round one way. So keeping that control, keeping that core engaged as you're circling around. Good. Still breathing, not holding your breath. Well done. And let's change direction, coming around the opposite way. Good. And one more time. And then we'll lower that leg back down. Oh, well done. Bend those knees up. Give that muscle a little rub from here. Good. So we'll keep those knees bent, and we're going to drop the block down onto the floor or your pillow, whatever you're using, so your head is at the front of it. We're just going to do a few arm opening stretches here just to open out through that chest. So breath in here. As you breathe out, we're going to lift up that top arm, opening out through that chest, looking round and back, and then slowly coming forwards again. And again, lifting up, opening out, round and back, and then coming forwards. Good. And again, lifting up, opening out, looking round and back, and coming back forwards. Lovely. And again, lifting up, opening out, round and back, and then coming forwards. So just opening up through that chest. Remember, don't pull through your shoulder too much. You can bend that elbow slightly if you need to. Just lifting up, opening out, round and back, and then back to that start. And again, lifting up, opening out, round and back, and then back to that start. Good. And again, lift up, opening out, looking round and back, and then back to that start. Lovely. And let's just do one more here. Lifting up, round and back, and then back to that start. Very good. Okay, so we're going to come round onto our tummies from here. We'll go on to the other side in a minute. If you've got a little pillow or a small towel you can use just under your forehead, then you can just have that there just to help you breathing and just resting your forehead there. Good. Okay, if you haven't got that to start with, we're going to just use our legs, so you can just have your hands crossed and just rest your hands on your forehead on your hands if you want to. Okay, so still making sure we're finding our neutral position in this position. So tuck that tailbone under, that core gently lifted. So imagine that belly button is just raising up towards your spine here. Okay, so from here, we're just going to start by engaging the core, and I'm going to just bend my knee, and I'm going to lift my heel up towards the ceiling. Okay, so squeeze that bottom, lift that heel up towards the ceiling. Good. We're going to stick with the one leg here, and we're lifting and lowering. So just pushing that heel up towards the ceiling. So as if you're trying to push the ceiling away from you and lower back down. Now you can see it's not a huge movement, okay? It doesn't go that far, so don't worry. You don't want to try and lift too far and feel your back arching. I'm really working my bottom muscles here, and I'm keeping the control of my pelvis by keeping that core engaged. So core is still lifted, and we're lifting and lowering that leg. Good. So we're pulsing up and down. Good. Well done. Lifting and lowering, so working through that bottom. Very good. Lifting and lowering. Very good. So really squeeze that bottom if you need to engage that muscle, especially if you feel it too much in your back. You've got to get those bottom muscles working, so squeeze that bottom to help lift that leg. Good. Now on this next one, we're going to lift up this leg, hold that there, and see if we can just do a few little pulses. So we're going to go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg down and extend the knee back down. Very good. Okay, let's do the same on the other side. So we're going to bend at the knee, flex the foot, and I'm just going to push that heel up to the ceiling and lowering. So just as I said before, squeeze that bottom. Make sure it's your bottom that's working, not that back. If you need to, you might need to really squeeze it if you've got a weakness there, just to engage that bottom muscle and keep that core engaged. It's not a big movement, remember. It doesn't have to lift that high. You can still feel that working really hard because your hip doesn't extend that far back, so it shouldn't go too far. So lift up and lower. Good, lifting and lowering. Just working into that bottom. Lift up and lower. Lifting and lowering. Well done. And lower back down. Excellent. Lift up and lower. Lift and lower. Good. So really working that bottom muscle. Make sure it's your bottom working, not your back. Keep that core engaged. Belly button just lifted up towards that spine. Well done. Good. Now let's just do one more here. We're going to lift up. We're going to hold it and do 8 little pulses. So go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower that leg back down and extend the knee. Excellent, well done. Okay, so we're just going to work our upper back and neck a little bit here. So bring your hands so they're in that kind of L shape, so kind of right angles either side. Legs just slightly wider than your hips here. Now we're going to keep this your chin tucked in. Imagine you've got a little peach under your chin, and we're just going to lift up and then lower. Now you can see again it's not a big movement, okay? So tucking that chin under, lifting up. Now the reason I want you to imagine that peach is because I don't want you to let your chin drop forward. So we're trying to keep that neck lengthened and lift up, okay? So what we don't want to see is lifting and then your chin extending like that, okay? So keep that neck lengthened, lifting and lowering. Good. So I lift up through my head, my breastbone lifts and lowering. So just working through that neck and that upper back here. Keeping that core engaged as I'm lifting and lowering. Good, lift up and lowering. Okay, excellent, and lower back down. Now if you can, either stay here at this level, or as we lift up at the same time we can raise our hands and then lower them down as one. Again, still keeping that chin tucked under, keeping my peach there and lowering back down. My neck staying nice and long and lifted. And then lowering back down. Good. And lifting as one if you can, and then lowering back down. Good. So just working into that upper back a little bit here, and then lower down. And again, lift up and lower down. Very good. Lift up here and lower. Just do last few here. Lift up and lower. Good. And one more time. And then lower that head back down onto the block there. Lovely. Okay, so keeping our hands in this position, we're just going to gently do a cobra stretch while we're here. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin under, and we're peeling off frontwards. So I'm peeling my breastbone, my ribs, my tummy just slowly up off the mat. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, I'm slowly walking my tummy, my ribs, my breastbone, and my head back down onto the block. Lovely. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that chin under, peeling up, slowly lifting, peeling that tummy, ribs off the mat. Breath in. As you breathe out, slowly walking down and peeling back down from here. Lovely. So just lift whereas you're comfortable. If you're very stiff in your back, you might not be able to go so far, but that's fine. Just tucking under, peeling off, nice and controlled. So some people do this exercise far too fast. It's nice and controlled lift, just like a bridge we do the other way. We're controlling, peeling back down. Fantastic. Let's just do one last one. So you tuck under, peeling up, lifting from here, and then slowly peeling back down. Very good, well done. Okay, so we're going to grab that thicker block again, and we're going to come round onto the opposite side. I'm going to come round this way. I'm going to come down onto the mat again, just to work on our sides as we did before. So just having that head just rest on that block from here. So our knees are bent up as they were before, hips stacked on top of each other, that core's gently lifted from here. Okay, so we're going to start with our side kick movement as we did before. So to begin with, we're going to keep the knee bent, lifting up, keeping that leg at that hip height. We're going to glide the leg forwards, excuse me, and gliding back. Good, and again, so we're gliding forwards and gliding back. So keeping that control as you glide forwards and you glide back. Well done. Glide forwards and glide back. Now, again, as before, if that's comfortable, we can straighten the leg, glide the leg forwards and gliding it back. So keeping that leg at that hip height level as you glide forwards and glide back. If the leg's straight as we did before, then point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. Point the toes to glide forward, flex the foot to glide back. And again, as before, if you want to challenge it a little bit further, we straighten that lower leg, glide forwards, glide back. So reducing that base of support just challenges that a little bit further. But you might find your leg can't move as far forward or back if your legs are straight. And that's fine. Just keep that centre. That's more important to keep that balance. Good. Core engaged. Gliding forwards. Gliding back. Glide forwards and glide back. Good. Glide forwards, glide back. Keeping that leg at that hip height level. Well done. Glide forwards and glide back. Well done. Keeping that control as you glide forwards, glide back. Well done. Really challenging those glute muscles to keep that leg at that hip height level. It's hard work to do that. So if you're finding your leg is dropping down towards the floor, just look down, check that leg is at hip height level. Good. So gliding forwards, gliding back. Well done. Glide forwards, glide back. Glide forwards and glide back. Well done. Gliding forwards and gliding back. Good. Let's just do one more here. Glide forwards and glide back and back to that center. Well done. Lower that leg down. Ooh, bend those knees up. Let's just drop that leg in front and stretch out through that lower leg here. So while we're stretching this top leg, giving it a bit of a rest, we can flex the foot of this lower leg, and we're going to lift and lower from here. So just to work that inner thigh a little bit, lifting and lowering. Good. So lift and lower through that inner thigh. Good. So lift up and lower. Well done. Lift up and lower. It doesn't have to be a huge lift, it's just engaging that inner thigh as we lift and lower through that leg. Well done. Lift up and lower. Good. Lift up and lower. Well done. And lift up and lower. Good. Last few here. Still breathing in and out. Upper body nice and relaxed. Good. Lift up and lower. Well done. Lift and lower. And let's just do one last one. Lift up and let's do a few little pulses. So we go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower back down. Well done. Just challenge that a little bit more there. Okay, so bending your legs up, we're going to straighten this top leg out again, keeping those hips stacked on top of each other. If you want to challenge it a little bit more, we can straighten the legs, we did before, but it gives you a little bit more base of support if you keep the lower leg bent. So it's up to you. Both legs straight if you can, and we're going to lift this top leg up and out to the side and lower back down. If you can, we're going to point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. So keeping these hips stacked as you lift and lower through that top leg. Good. Point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. Good. Point to lift up, flex to lower. And again, point the toes to lift up, flex the foot to lower. And again, point to lift up, flex to lower. Good. So just keeping that control, lifting and lowering through that top leg, really working through these glutes here. Well done. Good. Lift up and lower. Lifting up and lower. Good. Now we're going to do one more here. We're going to lift up, keep that lifted, and we're going to do a little circle around one way. Good. And circle around the other way. And then back to that centre and lower that leg back down. Oh, well done. Bend those knees up, give that muscle a rest. So we're going to drop that block down onto the floor so your head's at the front of it again. And we're going to just do a few arm opening stretches from here. So we're going to lift up this top arm, opening out round and back, looking round and back with that head, and then slowly coming back to that centre. And again, lifting up that top arm, opening out, coming round and back, and then back to that centre. Good. And again, lift up, opening out, round and back, and then back to that centre. Good. And again, lift up, opening out, round and back, and back to that centre. So make sure you're not pulling through that shoulder too much, just opening out through that chest, looking round and back, and coming back to that centre. Well done. Just opening through that chest, looking, rolling that head on that block to follow your arm around. Good. And then back. Lovely. And again, round and back. And let's do that one more time. And then back. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to come round just to stretch out our legs on our backs. So just come round onto your backs now. Just drop that block down by your side. So arms down by your side to begin with, just knees bent up from here. Okay, so let's start by stretching out through our hamstrings. So we're going to bring our knee up towards the chair, towards the ceiling, and then we're going to lengthen through the back of the leg here. So just feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. You can use your hands just to support the leg there, just lengthening through the back. So toes pointing up towards the ceiling, just feeling that stretch gently through the back of the leg here. Very good. Upper body nice and relaxed, and just breathing gently in and out, just really calming into that stretch. And then we're going to point and flex through the foot here, just changing that stretch slightly, just mobilising through that ankle, just pointing and flexing through the foot. Well done. Good. And then holding that stretch again, toes pointing up to the ceiling, holding this stretch. Good. Breathing in and out. Just holding the stretch here. Well done. Breath in and out. Good. And then we'll lower that leg down, and we'll do the same on the other side. So knee up to the ceiling, then through the back of the leg, toes pointing up to the ceiling, hands just supporting that leg here. And we're going to hold this stretch. So just breathing in and out. Just holding that stretch, lengthening through the back of the leg here. You can use your hands just to support that leg there if you can. Well done. Breath in and out. Well done. Then just changing that stretch slightly, just adding that ankle movement in, pointing and flexing through the foot. Good. And then we're just going to point that foot again, holding that stretch. Breathing in and out still. Good. And then relax that leg back down. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to stretch through those bottom muscles. So just put one foot onto the opposite knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay there. Or if you can, we're going to bring the other leg up and towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable. And we're going to hold this stretch here. So just feeling that stretch into that bottom here. Just breathing in and out. On that out breath, if you can, sink that stretch down a little bit further if you can. But otherwise, just holding where you're comfortable. Breathing in and out. No tension to that upper body. Nice and relaxed there. Just breathing in and out into that stretch. Well done. And we're just holding this here, sinking down on that out breath, just that little bit further if you can. Well done. Good, breath in and out. Good, and then relax the leg back down, and then we'll do the same on the opposite side, so opposite foot, just letting that leg relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay there, or if you can, we're going to bring the other leg up and towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable, holding this stretch here. So just breathing in and out. On that out breath, if you can, just sink down into that stretch that little bit further. Just where you're comfortable, we're just holding this stretch. Upper body nice and relaxed. Breath in and out here. And sinking down that little bit further. Well done, breath in. As you breathe out, relaxing down. Well done. Good. And one more breath in here. And as you breathe out, sinking down that little bit further. Well done. And then we're just going to lower those legs back down one at a time. We're going to come back round up into sitting here. And we're just going to finish off. So either sitting with your legs crossed, legs out in front, however you're comfortable. We're just going to relax those shoulders round, just relaxing those shoulders here. Fantastic. Okay, we'll just do a couple of mermaids here. So we're going to drop one hand down by our side, reach the opposite arm up and over, breath in here. As you breathe out, back up and over. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching that arm up and over, breath in. And as you breathe out, back to that centre. Well done. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reach the arm up and over, breath in here. And as you breathe out, back to that centre. Well done. One more time. Breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over, breath in here. And then back to that centre. Well done. And just relaxing those shoulders from here. Okay, so just arms out in front. We're just going to do a couple of wide stretches. So breath in. As you breathe out, reach those arms up and out. And then lowering back down. Good. And again, breath in. Reaching out. And lowering down. Lovely. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching up. And then lowering back down. One more time, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching up. And then lowering back down. Lovely. And just relaxing those shoulders. Fantastic. Well done today. We've done a really great workout. I hope you've enjoyed the class. And we'll see you again next time.